Let's play a little game. You walk into a boutique, sleek marble floors, a faint whiff of jasmine in the air, and you spot the bag. It's the Hermès Birkin, that holy grail of handbags. Retail price? Around $38,000. Yes, that's $38,000 for something that doesn't even come with a free trip to Paris. But here's where it gets juicy. According to some factory insiders who've been bravely spilling tea all over TikTok, the actual cost to produce that Birkin bag? Roughly $1,400, that's it. That's less than a new iPhone, less than a week at a fancy spa. Heck, it's about what most of us pay for groceries in a really bad month. So where does the other $36,600 go? Branding, exclusivity, the idea that you're not just buying leather, you're buying status. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, well, that's just luxury, stick with me, because this rabbit hole only gets deeper. Let's do a little comparison. That markup on the Birkin? It's like buying a $12 bottle of wine at dinner and being charged $900 because the sommelier winked at you while pouring it. Or paying $500 for a box of chocolates because the store tells you they were hand-selected by monks under a full moon. It's branding on steroids. And it works because we've been conditioned to believe that the higher the price, the higher the value. But what if that value is just storytelling? What if the emperor's new handbag isn't wearing any clothes? Let's take this one step further. That made in France or made in Italy label stitched inside your Chanel or Hermès bag? Oh, it's technically true, but what they don't tell you is that the bag probably took a little detour through China first. Here's how the magic works. Luxury brands often manufacture most of the product, cutting the leather, stitching the panels, assembling the hardware, in places like Guangzhou, China, where labor and materials are cheaper. Then the nearly finished bag gets shipped off to France or Italy, where a worker adds one final stitch, a zipper, or a logo. And just like that, voila! The bag is now made in France. It's like baking a frozen lasagna at home and calling it homemade. Legally, it checks out. If the final substantial transformation of a product happens in a certain country, it earns that label. But morally, that Made in Italy stamp starts to feel a bit misleading. Even Louis Vuitton has admitted that many of its products are assembled in Spain or the United States, despite the brand's Parisian roots. The truth is, these brands aren't selling you French craftsmanship. They're selling you the illusion of it. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, but if the quality's good, does it really matter where it's made? And sure, that's fair. But shouldn't you know what you're paying for? Shouldn't transparency be part of the luxury experience? If I'm shelling out enough money to buy a used car, I'd at least like to know if my bag spent more time on a shipping container than in a Parisian workshop. Now, before we continue to expose these luxury brands, let's dive deeper into the steep price increases versus the quality of these luxury handbags. Take the Chanel Classic Flap Bag, for example. In 1991, it retailed for around $1,150. Today, that same bag will set you back over $10,000. That's nearly a 900% increase. Which, sure, inflation is real, but not that real. So, for that price, you'd expect perfection. Perfect stitching. Perfect hardware. Maybe even a built-in alarm that tells you when someone's admiring it too hard. But no, what you get today doesn't even hold a candle to what Chanel produced 30 years ago. The stitching? Misaligned. The quilting? Uneven. The structure? Kind of like that IKEA shelf you swore was level. It turns out, with luxury, the price can climb a mountain, while the quality quietly slips down the other side. Numerous Chanel enthusiasts have voiced concerns over the declining quality of newer classic flap bags. A common grievance centers around the misalignment of the signature diamond quilting, a detail that was once a hallmark of Chanel's commitment to excellence. One Chanel enthusiast shared on Reddit, "I had my heart set on the small classic Chanel flap. When I tried it on and inspected it, I felt like the bag was not symmetrical. The curve doesn't look smooth either. Am I being too critical? I just thought for a $10,000 bag it would look immaculate." Another user echoed similar sentiments. "My Chanel from the 2000s are in incredible condition, despite decades of use. My one Chanel from 2022 is already fraying at the edges, and no matter how much I try or how little I put in it, it doesn't seem to close evenly." These first-hand accounts highlight a broader issue. the perceived erosion of quality in Chanel's recent productions. The meticulous craftsmanship that once defined the brand appears to be waning, leaving loyal customers questioning the value of their investment. Experts in luxury goods authentication have also noted these discrepancies. For instance, Zekrayat Hussein, a renowned Chanel authenticator, has observed inconsistencies in newer models, emphasizing the importance of scrutinizing details like stitching alignment and hardware quality. So after unpacking the Made in France mirage and the sky-high markups, you might be wondering, if these bags are mostly made in China, why are we still paying Paris prices? Well, that's where TikTok enters like a wrecking ball with a camera. You're scrolling TikTok, minding your business, and suddenly, bam! A factory worker in Guangzhou, China casually pans across shelves lined with handbags that look exactly like Chanel, Hermès, Louis Vuitton. The caption? Why pay $10,000? Message me for $50. And just like that, the luxury fashion world starts sweating. One of the loudest voices behind these viral clips? Wang Sen, a Chinese manufacturer turned digital whistleblower. His accounts get deleted more often than your average gym membership renewal reminder. But like a fashion industry boogeyman, he keeps popping back up with a fresh account, fresh videos, and fresh tea. In one clip, he gestures toward a stack of Chanel classic flaps and says, $75 to make, Chanel charges you $10,000. The comments? Pure chaos. Half the viewers are shocked. The other half? Spamming DM emojis faster than you can say lambskin leather. But the $1 million, or in this case, $10,000 question is, are these fakes or are they real? This is where things get spicy. There's a theory, a very credible one, that these sellers aren't just hawking cheap knockoffs. They're offering what the industry calls overruns, extra bags made in the same factories, with the same materials, and by the same workers who make the real ones. The difference? These bags never made it through the official brand gatekeepers. Imagine ordering a dozen croissants, but the baker makes a few extras and sells them from the back door at a quarter of the price. Same recipe, same baker, just minus the fancy storefront markup. Of course, Chanel and Hermès deny this outright. Their lawyers are probably in full sprint mode trying to shut these sellers down. But whether you believe it or not, these TikTok exposés have cracked the illusion of exclusivity wide open. Now I know some of you watching right now are nodding along like, girl, please, I've known this for years. But here's the thing. Even if you've been in the know, the fact that millions of TikTok users are waking up to this in real time changes everything. It's one thing to suspect that your $10,000 bag wasn't fully made in Paris. It's another thing to see the person who stitched it offering the same design for $100 on your phone screen with a direct message link. This isn't niche insider gossip anymore. This is mainstream disruption. And even for the savviest shoppers, it forces the question, do I still feel good about paying top dollar for a brand story? Or is it time to rethink what luxury really means? Because in 2025, luxury isn't just about craftsmanship. It's about who controls the narrative. And right now, TikTok's got the microphone. So we've peeled back the layers on luxury markups, exposed the Made in France charade, and watched TikTok turn the fashion world upside down. But there's still one more ingredient in this luxury cocktail that's shaking things up. Tariffs. In early 2025, the US turned up the heat on trade with China, introducing a series of escalating tariffs that, by April, reached up to 145% on certain imports. And while steel and electronics grabbed the headlines, luxury goods were quietly sitting in the fine print. So what does that mean for your Chanel or Hermès bag? If it's coming out of China, even if it's just components, you're now looking at a hefty import tax. And brands? They're passing that cost directly to you. But instead of pushing people back to local luxury brands, something unexpected happened. Shoppers went underground. They went to TikTok, to Telegram, to WeChat. Straight to the factories. Because if luxury is going to charge more and the bag is already made in China, why not just go straight to the source? So while brands are sweating tariffs, Wang Sen and his factory friends are over here saying, no problem, we'll ship direct. No middlemen, no retail markup, no 145% tax. It's like watching a luxury jailbreak. Brands trying to tighten control while the internet cuts the fence wire. So what does this mean for us? The shoppers, the dreamers, the women who once walked past a Chanel boutique and thought, one day, well, here's the truth bomb. Luxury isn't just about the product. It's about the story you're buying with it. You're not paying $10,000 for a handbag. You're paying for the Parisian fantasy, the status, the feeling that this bag is something special because it's rare, exclusive, and not everyone can have it. But now, we've seen the factories. We know the margins. We've watched TikTok turn a $10,000 bag into a $75 order with express shipping. The story has changed. The illusion is fading. So here's the question. What does luxury mean to you? Is it about the brand name stamped on the leather? Or is it about the quality, the design, the craftsmanship? Or maybe it's about how it makes you feel. And hey, if buying a real deal Hermès Birkin makes you feel powerful, own it. But if you're realizing the story isn't matching the price tag anymore, maybe it's time to write your own story, because in 2025, luxury isn't just about what's on your arm. It's about what's in your mind. So whether you choose to shop at the boutique or scroll TikTok for that factory plug, just remember, the real luxury? Making the choice for you.